Hey guys. Second. There we go. Okay. Thanks for joining me tonight. Thought this would be a good idea to do something kind of interesting. Rather than just kind of filling it out and just posting it on Twitter, thought it'd be kind of a cool thing to do to stream it and kind of talk through my choices. So kind of do like follow where they did, do the playing games, then just go through round 1, 2, 3, 4, and all that. So yeah, just let me know if the music is too loud or not. So, playing game 1. Erica versus Octodad Deadliest Catch. Say I haven't played either of them. Hey Erica, how's it going? Like I was saying, I haven't played either of these, but I know more about Octodad, so that one's gonna win. Playing 2, Days Gone versus Knack. Oh, thanks for the subscription. Really appreciate it. Say, how's the road trip today? So, what was it? Playing 2. I appreciate you stopping by, even if it's for a little bit. Playing 2, Days Gone versus Knack. All said and done, I played about the same amount of these two games. They probably less than 5 hours. Oh, nice. So hopefully they didn't get too harassed going down to Ohio. This is a tough one. Because both were kind of meh. I think I'm going to go Knack. Appreciate the lurk. Let's see. Drive Club versus Fat Princess Adventures. Another matchup that I haven't played either. But again, I know more about Drive Club, so that's what's gonna win. Hey, welcome to the stream. Say Drive Club, yup. Like I said, I have played more of Knack 1. I bought Knack 2 when it was on sale for like $5 on PSN one time, so I've yet to dive into that one. Days Gone, from the little bit I played of it, it was just kind of repetitive from the few hours I have played, so I haven't gone back though. And playing 8, Bound versus the Order 1886. I'm going Order. It's because, I haven't played Bound, but really enjoyed the Order from what I played way back in the day. So, I mean, yeah, okay, so I got playing 6, Knowledge is Power versus Predator Hunting Grounds. Hydrate. Appreciate that. Yeah, the graphics in it are really good. Hydrate there. Take a swig of some Corona Seltzer. Trying those because I'm going to a bonfire tomorrow night, and from what all my friends have been saying, that you don't feel that bloated feeling the next day from drinking beer. So gonna give seltzers a try, see how that goes. From the seltzers that I've tried, Coronas are the best. But anyway, back to this. I'm gonna go Predator Hunting Grounds. I haven't played either of them, but from the videos I've watched, I've really enjoyed Predator Hunting Grounds. Oh wow, that's awesome. So how'd you win those? It's a Drive Club VR versus That's You. Another one that I haven't played. So I guess we'll just go Drive Club VR. Farpoint versus Drawn to Death. Haven't played either. Ooh, classic. Playing 3, Knack 2 versus Shenmue 3. Haven't played either. A lot more people seem disappointed in Shenmue 3 from what I heard, so I guess we'll just go with Knack 2. Alright, round 1. We got God of War versus Octodad, Deadliest Catch. Going God of War. Pretty easy choice, I think. You got Game of the Year 2018 versus one of the best indie games that came out. I don't know what year. Okay. And Until Dawn versus Firewall 0 Hour. Ooh, that's a tough one. Because I did enjoy... I'm not much of a horror fan, so the fact that I enjoyed Until Dawn really says something. But... same can also kind of be said with Firewall 0 Hour, because I'm not huge into those competitive shooters like Rainbow Six Siege. I think I gotta give the win to Until Dawn, just because of the fact that I am just not into horror one bit whatsoever. I'm fine watching like Let's Plays of horror games, but any of them myself I've just never been a fan of, so the fact that I enjoyed Until Dawn so much, I think that deserves something. Wipeout Omega Collection versus Everybody's Golf VR. Never played Wipeout. I do own it on PlayStation Plus, so I do have to get to that eventually. I also own Everybody's Golf VR, which I really enjoy that game. So, that game, it's odd, because the bits that I have played of it, it seems like they're trying to set you up with the caddy for whatever reason. I don't understand it. It's really weird. but the gameplay of Everybody's Golf VR is really fun. Please, Golf VR. Now, I'm going to confess something to you all. I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game. I intend to change that. But up to this point, I have never played a Ratchet and Clank game. I have heard all the good things about it. I've only played a little bit of Amplitude. And the fact that Ratchet and Clank, what's the PS5 one? Into the Rift or something like that. Oh. Okay, that's weird. Just took a little bit to update. Okay, anyway. Ratchet and Clank is gonna win this one. Stay tuned to the channel to see that playthrough eventually. There's that sign. Horizon Zero Dawn and Sakura Wars. Another confession. I just beat Horizon Zero Dawn this past December. It was one of those where I played it, or I didn't get the Switch right when it launched. I got it about a month later because it launched beginning of March. I didn't get mine until about April 1st, or like those first few days in April. So up until then is when I just fell in love with Horizon. That world just drew me in. Just the lore of that world and learning all about what happened, I really enjoyed it. Whereas I never played Sakura Wars. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but then once Breath of the Wild came out, I was all into that. I want to say I did go back for a little bit towards the end of the year before Game Awards. Didn't quite finish it up there. And yeah, I want to say after I beat Fallen Order, because I think it was Fallen Order last year and Pokemon Sword and Shield both came out on the same day. So I was kind of feeling, once I beat both of those, I was kind of feeling a bit of a void and decided to pick up Horizon Zero Dawn again, and that's when I finally ran through the end and finished it up. So Horizon wins this round. Ghost of Tsushima versus Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Going with Ghost. Only about 6 or 7 hours in, but kind of that same thing with Horizon and Breath of the Wild, is that I'm just ready to get lost in that world. I love the photo mode. Yeah, the combat seems a little odd at first, but I'm sure once you get more unlocks and stuff like that, it seems to really get a flow of what's going on. Word of advice to anybody that's looking to start Ghost of Tsushima: do Yuna's first mission right away. It's not really a spoiler because it tells you when you hover over it, but the reward you get for doing that first mission is the assassinate ability. I wasn't doing the main story missions, so I didn't have that ability for the longest time. That was like that mission and then one of the other main story missions were the last two things I did when I stopped playing on Sunday, I believe. So, yeah, I just got that ability and I have been working my way through a majority of that island so far. Alright, The Last Guardian versus the Forest. Haven't played either of these. So, I guess we'll just go with The Last Guardian. And Dreams versus Knack. Part of me really wants to put Knack over Dreams, but the fact that you can just do so much in Dreams and that they just added VR to it, I think there's just so much you can do in Dreams that I just can't, as much as I want to just for the chaos of it all, I can't. Alright. I'm going to try to pick up the pace a little bit. Got Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4. Gravity Rush 2 versus Fire Pro Wrestling World. Haven't played either of these. So let's just do Fire Pro. Gotta get some upsets in here. Lost Legacy versus Dragon Quest Heroes 2. I haven't played Lost Legacy yet or Dragon Quest Heroes 2. But the fact that I've really enjoyed the other Uncharted games, making me gonna go Lost Legacy. Yep. Marvel Spider-Man versus Marvel's Spider-Man, or Marvel's Iron Man VR. Going. I don't know how to turn notifications off. Anyway, so I haven't played much of Iron Man VR. I believe I just finished the, oh, what was it? Chapter 4, I think it is. 3 or 4, the one where you're in Hong Kong, I think it is, or Shanghai. Yeah, I think it's Hong Kong. So yeah, just finished that one. Can only do about a chapter, maybe chapter and a half at a time of that game. Just the weird, I wouldn't call it motion sickness, but it just messes with my brain a little bit. So I can't stay in VR for too long when playing that. But Marvel's Spider-Man, I can literally go back to that game whenever and just enjoy the hell out of that game. So we're doing Spider-Man. Neo versus Fist of the North Star. So Neo, haven't played either of those two. Resogun versus Street Fighter V. For being a launch game of the PS4, I very much enjoyed Resogun. It's so simple, but yet it's one of those, what's the saying? Simple to learn, hard to master, I think is what it is. So, yeah, Reso gun. And plus, I'm just not much of a fighting game person, so. Judgment versus Detroit Become Human. Haven't played Judgment, haven't played any of the Yakuza games. So we're going Detroit. Bloodborne versus The Order 1886. Haven't played Bloodborne. But I know how good it is, or how good people say it is, compared to how kind of mediocre The Order is. Over here, okay. Persona 5 Royal. Let me just do this. Like that. Oh, okay. Dun 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 dun. Okay. Royal. There we go. Oh, that just okay. Increase the size of that a bit. There we go. So yeah, it's Persona 5 Royal versus Drive Club VR. This isn't even a question. It's Persona 5 Royal. That was my second platinum ever. Or I should say, second non-Telltale platinum. Really gotta quiet those notifications. Not you. Okay. No new notifications. If anybody knows how to turn off or quiet notifications, that would help. Let me just quick search. Aha. Get notification. Notification. How about we just do that for now? Okay. But as I was saying, Persona 5 Royal, easily my game of the year so far. I can say that knowing that I've played Last of Us 2, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Animal Crossing, Ori, Doom, Ghost. This game, it turns a... It turns a... Or turned a game in from Persona 5 that was considered by many to already be a masterpiece. And had already gotten a bunch of 9s and 10s all over the place. And made it better in every way possible. Like the combat, they did so many quality of life improvements. The fact that they can make baton pass right away. That was such a huge improvement. Dude, Infamous, because I never played Alienation. Neo 2 versus Concrete Genie. never played Neo 2, but I played a good chunk of Concrete Genie, and I really enjoyed that game. But we got another upset. Final Fantasy VII Remake versus Killzone Shadowfall. Having never played the original Final Fantasy VII, or I should say a good chunk of it, I really enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Remake. The music of that game, the look of that game, it all came together. And I never played Killzone Shadowfall either, so. Tetris Effect, Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. I haven't played much of Tetris Effect, but it's more than I played of Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. Because I'm not the best at Tetris. So, yeah, the first didn't get much past the first level. So you got Ni no Kuni 2 or Dragon Quest Heroes. I haven't played either of them, but I enjoyed what I've played of the first Ni no Kuni. Not sure how much that relates to the second one, but that's all I got to base my choice off for this match, so. Orcs Must Die, Unchained, Everybody's Golf. Got another upset for you guys. Going Everybody's Golf. I really enjoyed that game. Played it for hours at a time just because there wasn't a good golf game on PS4. Like the Rory McIlroy one is just not good. So I'm really looking forward to this 2K21 or PGA Tour 2K21 game. Hoping that's good, at least. If not, it'll be back to Everybody's Golf. So we got Shadow of the Colossus versus Predator Hunting Grounds. Got another confession. Never played Shadow of the Colossus. Or I should say, not a substantial amount of it. I can't remember what game I had finished, but at the time I wasn't tired. So I went to look at what games I had downloaded on my PS4, saw Shadow of the Colossus Remake. Started that up and started playing it. Great graphics of it. I had a hard time keeping up with what they were saying or what they were doing, and wasn't really grasping the controls when it came to that first Colossus, whatever it is, or whatever the singular version is. Haven't played Predator Hunting Grounds either, but I'm really debating on this one. I gotta go Shadow. Just the significance of that game. And now, let me move my webcam real quick so you guys can see this. Move that over here. Okay. So we got Last of Us Part 2 versus Knack 2. Two great sequels. One of them very much better than the other. Blood and Truth versus Night of Fighters. Fort 14? Yeah, that's 14. Play Blood and Truth. It's such a great game. Like, just the way the characters are animated or captured in that game, and just the gameplay too. Like, it's such a great game. I wish I could play it more, but for whatever reason, that game, sometimes when I have my headphones into PSVR, sometimes it just gets all crackly and all that, so I can't really play with headphones, which sucks. So we got Pyre versus Gran Turismo Sport. Haven't played either of them, but I haven't never played a Gran Turismo game, but I have played other. Is it Supergiant that makes that? So I'm gonna go with Pyre because I really enjoyed what I played of Bastion. I own all three. I own Bastion, I think, in a couple spots. Like, I think I got it on Steam, PS4. I don't think I got it on Switch. I also own Transistor and Pyre on PS4. I got MLB The Show 19 versus Infamous First Light. I'm gonna go with the show just because I'm a huge baseball fan. Oops. Hoping the Tigers do better this season than they did last season. They literally can't do any worse because they were the worst team in the league. Res Infinite versus Matterfall. Haven't played either. Heard more about Res, so that's gonna win. Haven't played I think I've played some of the Playroom VR. Let's do Yakuza. Death Stranding versus Riggs. I played probably about 4 or 5 hours of Death Stranding. The weekend it came out, I had nothing going on that weekend, so I rented that and Modern Warfare from Redbox back when they were still doing game rentals. And I played, like I said, about 4 hours of that game and just wasn't feeling it. So, but I've never played Riggs, so it's more than, yeah. Easier said than done. Or, I don't know, not easier said than done. I don't know what I was trying to say there. Astrobot versus Farpoint. Again, if you have PSVR, go play Astrobot. I haven't quite finished it yet. Alright, back over to the side. Grab. I just put you kind of in the middle. This way I don't gotta keep moving you. For now, at least. Yeah. I'll just put you back up here. Okay, so we got God of War versus Until Dawn. God of War. It's in one of my favorite games of all time. I won't say it's my favorite. It's another game that's in this bracket. Got Airways Golf VR versus Ratchet and Clank. One Ratchet. There you are. Horizon versus Ghost. I just, not having played all of Ghost, I can't put that ahead of Horizon. I really have enjoyed my time with Ghost so far, but I really loved Horizon. Story really got me in there. Same with the world, the lore. But man, Ghost is such a beautiful looking game. Like, Horizon for the longest time was the reason to show people 4K HDR. Until Ghost came around. Like, I streamed that, or Ghost, last Saturday. And just played in 4K. Because I've got the Razer Ripsaw HD, which passes, or it only puts out to you guys 1080p, but it does 4K pass through. So I still was able to see in 4K, which still made the game look awesome. But man, when I played Sunday and just had the HDMI cable going straight from the PS4 Pro into the TV, holy cow, does that make a huge difference. Like, it is night and day how much better that game looks in HDR. But yeah, I gotta go with Horizon. Last Guardian and Dreams. Never played Last Guardian, so that was an easy one. Got Uncharted 4 versus Fire Pro World Wrestling. Got Spider-Man and Uncharted Lost Legacy. Going to Spider-Man. And haven't played Lost Legacy, so that was a pretty easy decision. Neo and Resogun. Haven't played Neo. And like I was saying before with the Resogun round, is that every time I play Resogun, I really enjoy my time with that game. Not very good, but I really enjoy my time with that game. Detroit versus Bloodborne. Now, I haven't played Bloodborne, and I haven't played Detroit since it came out. I have thought about going back to it. So I think I'm gonna go Detroit. Okay, back over to this side of the bracket. And now it's... Ooh. Yeah, let's just do that for now. My alert's off the side of the screen, but oh well. Oh, quick move that back. Okay. Anyway. So I got Persona 5 Royal versus Infamous Second Son. Persona 5 Royal, like I was saying, that one of my favorites, if not my favorite game of all time, is on this list. I was talking about Persona 5 Royal. I really enjoyed the original, and Royal stepped it up from there. So I don't even know how that was possible, but they did it. So that deserves some recognition. Infamous Second Son, I enjoyed playing it. I enjoyed all the Infamous games. But there's just, I don't know, something, if that had a little bit more time to cook, I think it would have been a really good game. But Persona 5 moves on. Concrete Gina versus Genie versus Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's Final Fantasy VII. Tetris Effect versus Ni no Kuni 2. Another easy one because I haven't played Ni no Kuni 2, and I have played Tetris Effect. Everybody's Golf versus Shadow of the Colossus. Tough one. I know I should. Easy decision would be Everybody's Golf, but there's that legacy decision, that or legacy of Shadow of the Colossus that kind of pulls into that choice. I think I'm gonna go with Everybody's Golf. I just hadn't played enough of Shadow of the Colossus. I understand why people love it from the bit that I have played, but yeah, I just haven't played enough of Shadow of the Colossus to get it this far, to get it that far. Tilu 2 versus Blood and Truth. As much as I love Blood and Truth, I gotta go Tilu 2. Because that game is just something special. Pyre versus MLB The Show 19. Going MLB. Oh. MLB, I really like that game. Just because it has so much more upgrades from the 17 and 18 games. It added new modes, like Barrett was saying that the history mode is so much fun. Plus, there's also a mode that you can, I think it's kind of a franchise mode, the March to October, where it's kind of a more streamlined franchise mode. But I'm normally, or mainly just play Road to the Show, and just the upgrades they made to that mode on its own just makes 19 the best that I've played. I haven't upgraded to 20 just because I've watched videos and everybody was saying if it's not a huge upgrade over what 19 did, so until that goes on sale, I don't really see a need to pay the $60 for the Show 20. Haven't played either Res Infinite or Yakuza 6. So we'll go Res. Don't know much about either game, so I'm gonna have to look into those. Got Death Stranding versus Astrobot. We're going Astrobot. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so now we're down to the Sweet 16. God of War versus Ratchet and Clank. God of War. yeah, I don't really have much more that needs to be said about God of War. That game it's just so good. So just that the feeling of, or how satisfying it is to call back the axe, the Leviathan axe. Um, it it's unmatched. It goes unmatched in video games. Horizon versus Dreams. See, I'm more of a single player video game player, I guess you can say. Although I have been getting into more multiplayer online games. Warzone. Shoutouts to the Prom Squad. But yeah, I gotta go with Horizon over Dreams. Uncharted 4 and Spider-Man. I haven't finished Uncharted 4. I know how it ends because I watched a Let's Play of it, but I personally have not played the ending or through the end of Uncharted 4. So I'm going Spider-Man. Resogun versus Detroit Become Human. I think I'm gonna go Detroit on this one, guys. Just for me, Detroit is not that Resogun is. I don't consider not that I don't consider Resogun a game, because it is. I really enjoy playing Resogun, but Resogun is one of those games to me that I sit and play for an hour or two and don't really go back to. Whereas Detroit, that is a full-fledged narrative-driven game, and that is right up my alley. Ooh, that's loud. Okay, I think I can just leave my webcam there for now. Yeah, that looks like okay. So we got Persona 5 Royal versus Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's Persona. Not much more has to be said about that game and how much I love that game. Tetris Effect versus Everybody's Golf. I'm going Everybody's Golf, just purely based on the fact that I've played so much of Everybody's Golf, like hours and hours and hours, whereas I know I've played Tetris Effect for less than an hour or two. Okay. T-Lu 2 versus MLB The Show. Sorry, the show. But the first Last of Us was one of those games, or was a game that defined the generation. Last of Us 2 did the same thing, but even better. The fact that it goes so seamlessly between gameplay and cutscene and back to gameplay, it's just unmatched. It's also unmatched in how loud it makes the PS4. Holy cow. I posted a video on Twitter a while back of when of how loud my PS4 Pro was because of that game. Although recently it's been getting into Warzone, and I think when you're in the lobby for that game, the fan is so much worse than what it is when playing TLU 2. Although it's louder during that short time, but during TLU 2 it is loud consistently, whereas in Warzone it's just during the lobby. So yeah, that's something. Astrobot here. Like I said, I never played Res. Nothing against Res, but I've never played it, so can't make it to the Elite 8. God of War versus Horizon Zero Dawn. Quick tweet out that we're starting the Elite 8. Okay. So, God of War versus Horizon Zero Dawn. I gotta go with God of War. As much as I love Horizon, God of War is just night and day better. I don't mean to keep saying or copying what they're doing at Kind of Funny, but I think Greg says it best where there's not a moment wasted in God of War. Whereas, just the whole one shot, never cut away from the action. There's something to be said about how great that is. And if you haven't seen the Raising Kratos documentary on YouTube, definitely go give that a watch. It is so good. Okay, so we got Spider-Man versus Detroit Become Human. I mean, I don't know why I sighed. This is an easy one for me. It's Spider-Man. Again, there hasn't been a game that made me want to explore the city or the setting of it as much as Spider-Man did with New York City. It had such an excuse me. I've never 100%ed a game like I did with Spider-Man. It was my first non-Telltale Platinum, and I just really enjoyed it. So, yeah, Spider-Man moves on. Persona 5 Royal versus Everybody's Golf. If you've been here for a while, you know Persona 5 Royal. There, I've said that is my favorite game of all time. So, easily beats over Everybody's Golf. TLU versus Astrobot. Had a good run, Astrobot, but TLU 2 wins this one. You gotta, like I said, that game, it's a once in a generation kind of game. It makes you think. The story really makes you think and really makes you feel something. Like games never made me feel the way that game has made me feel. Alright, Final Four. This looks, if I remember right, this looks very familiar. So, God of War versus Spider-Man. This is a very tough one for me because in God of War, you have one of my favorite games of all time. But with Spider-Man, you have one of my favorite all-time games to play of all time. Because I went back to God of War at some point last year. I can't remember exactly when. And the beginning of that game is just so good. But I haven't played much past the beginning. I've wanted to, but I just haven't been able to. There's just too many games to play. That's why my backlog is so huge. This is a tough one. Because God of War, it's just the perfect package. You got a great story, great graphics, great, just everything in that game is great. Not saying it's not great in Spider-Man, but Spider-Man, there comes a time where things just get repetitive. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Even though I said that was a bad negative thing about Days Gone. But Spider-Man, it only got repetitive when I was cleaning up things for the Platinum. So, yeah, God of War wins this one. Oh, I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it. PSILY 2 versus Persona 5 Royal. I'm not spoiling anything, but the stories of both of those games are amazing. PSILY 2, I very much, I wouldn't say enjoyed my time. I mean, I enjoyed my time with it, but enjoyed isn't the right word. It's hard to enjoy that story. There are very much moments I enjoyed of PSILY 2. But Persona 5 Royal, it elevated that base game so much. Yet the same can be said about PSILY 2, because PSILY 2 wouldn't be as good without the first Last of Us. Because, I mean, granted, because it's two parts to one story. So, man, I don't know. I really don't know. because I love both games. Like I said, Persona 5 Royal is my favorite game of all time. Just because somehow they made what was one of my favorite games of all time in Persona 5 and just raised the bar on it in every single way possible. They improved the social links, they improved the combat, they improved the dialogue, the fact that you don't have to go to bed right away every night. But like there, I do not like the Okumura section. That literally almost made me put the game down. But I powered through it because I knew I had to get to that new content. But once I got past that, it rekindled my energy to play that game. I'm trying to talk myself out of The Last of Us, but I don't know. It's Last of Us. This is really hard without trying to spoil anything. But there's a section of that game where you're so frustrated because you're like, I have to do this. I really have to do this all over. But where that game goes, I don't know, it's screw it. And there we go. We have our finals. God of War versus Persona 5 Royal. Sorry, Persona. As much as I love that game, God of War wins. Don't be a coward. I already made a tough decision by putting it over Tilu 2. The fact that's making me pick God of War over Persona 5 Royal is the fact that there were parts of Persona 5 that I, you know, it was a struggle to get through, like basically just that Okumura section that is just I want to say tarnish, but also that's the only really word to describe that section of the game. In an otherwise almost perfect game, I'd say. But God of War, from what I remember, there's not really a moment, there's nothing that tarnishes that experience. It is great from start to finish, from the second you start, from the second that story ends. And even the little bits and pieces in between of the stories that are on the boat. And just the little touches of like when he's still in the middle of the story and it's like, oh, and I'll finish that story later. Like just those little touches like that. So there we go.